Yeah, hi guys. So in this chapter, we'll be looking at setting up to develop. Okay. In order to start building systems, programming systems, you need to set up your laptop to be able to develop. Okay. Now, it is possible to write your code. But let me step back. So first off, you will need somewhere in order to be able to write your code or your program, okay? And you could simply do this in a text editor. So some text editor you have on your laptop, right, on your machine. But even better than text editors are what you call code editors. So code editors are like text editors, but they are meant primarily for writing code. So because of that, they make it easier and facilitate your writing of code. Okay. So for instance, they might help you notice certain problems with your code as you write and so on, right? So those are called code editors. Now, even better than code editors are what you call IDEs, IDE, or integrated development environments. So those allow you to do even more than simply editing your code. So in general, when most developers or programmers are writing their programs, they would do so in an IDE, an integrated development environment. It's essentially like a code editor, but with a lot of very useful tools that make it easy for you to write your program. Okay. So in order to move forward, one of the things you need is a code editor, an IDE, right? And the one that I'm going to recommend for you as you're beginning is called Visual Studio Code. Okay, Visual Studio Code, or VS Code. Okay, code CODE. All right, so you need to get that. And in some of the videos that are going to follow, you will get instructions for how you can install and run VS Code. Okay. Now, the second thing is the operating system environment within which you are going to write your code. Okay, so it's possible to write code and write and develop software on any kinds of machines, right? So you can do it on a Windows system, right, which a lot of are familiar with. But there are also different operating systems, and the popular one, apart from Windows, are what you call Unix-based systems. Okay, we are not going to go too much into that, but there are these Unix-based operating systems that you can use. Okay, and these Unix-based operating systems, right? The two popular ones are Mac, right? So Mac operating systems and Linux operating systems. Okay. So Mac operating systems and Linux operating systems, they are both based off of what you call Unix, right? Which means that there are a lot of similarities between the two, even though they are different brands of operating systems. Now, what tends to happen is a lot of developers the world over write and develop their programs within Unix systems, right? So I typically encourage people that are starting their programming journey to get familiar with developing on Unix systems. Initially, there might be a bit of a learning curve, but you in sort of, even I won't say long run, but in the short of medium to long run, you see that there are a lot of benefits to being able to operate within the Unix environment. Okay, so I, for one, when I'm doing tutorials, right, I'm going to work within the Unix framework, and many people who teach and program and so on, will first and foremost do what they are doing within that same Unix environment, right? So if you don't have that environment and say you are on a Windows system, it might get a little, sometimes, it gets sort of a bit confusing to follow, right? Which is why I encourage you to have a Unix system. Now, the good news is that doesn't mean that you need to ditch your Windows laptop and go and find a Linux machine or a MacBook. No. So Windows has introduced something that's called Windows Subsystem for Linux, in short, WSL. So that allows you to actually have a Linux system on your machine in a very simple and convenient manner, and allows you to then be able to develop on Windows as though you were in a Unix or Linux environment. And even better than that, it allows you to integrate Visual Studio Code, which is a very good editor, with this WSL, right? So that you can write your code, run within a Unix environment, and all this, pretty nice. Okay. So in the next set of videos, you are going to learn about how you can install this WSL, right? Windows Subsystem for Linux, how you can install Visual Studio Code, how you can connect the two. And once you are done, then your system is all set up for us to begin our journey. Okay. All right. Thank you.